What's up, ladies and gentlemen? It is I, the Goof, and there has been a lot of information about the Switch. More and more keeps being revealed or talked about or leaked or whatever, what have you. Mostly patents, though. Leading up to the proper announcement, we had the little announcement teaser trailer not too long ago, like a month ago at this point. I can't remember actually. We had the proper little teaser trailer, but we're supposed to have an actual full blown like direct, which them just doing a direct is kind of odd to me. I would have thought they would maybe go all out like they did on stage, but I think they don't want to do stage stuff anymore. Too much can go wrong, and it's hard to control things. So, like, let's not forget Suda51. I think that's the guy. Let's not forget him going off script and confusing translators and whatnot. Let's not forget that. That throws things off, throws a monkey wrench into things. So I do believe that, yeah, it's probably for the best that they're going to do just a straight up direct. That seems like the proper thing to do, right? That seems like the thing you want to do, just to prevent issues like that. But on the topic of the Switch 2, let's talk about pricing. Oh, first up, we have this little gem, and I forgot that I forgot I could hit F11 and just kind of woo. Bloomberg analysis, and let's be real, what do they know? They don't know jack. They make silly predictions. They're probably worse than weathermen. They don't actually know. They don't actually know. So they're probably worse than weathermen. But yes, so Bloomberg analysis predict 400 plus price in a June 2025 release for the Switch 2. Uh, yeah, okay, so here's the thing. I do believe it'll probably be in June. It's or some month before Christmas. Like you would think Christmas, no. I think they want to get a jump on the holidays. That way people buy software. Software during the holidays and before the holidays, the hardware. Or it could give people a chance to buy the hardware for the holidays to have people, yeah. And also for them, Nintendo themselves, to gauge reactions and trends and so on and so forth before the holidays, or maybe make more consoles. I am worried that the tariffs are going to cause issue. Trump is the worst president we've ever had twice, but I think the problem is that we keep being given horrible options. But I'm not going to talk about that. We just have horrible options when it comes to leaders, and people tend to want to choose the worst option. Anyhow, so let's talk about this for a second. Uh, yeah, yeah. The Nintendo Switch 2 may have been officially revealed by Nintendo a couple of months ago. Yeah, it was a couple of months. Okay. But there is still not really much information to go on that has come straight from Nintendo themselves. So leaks, blah, 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 blah. Let's get to this part. It says, according to the analysts, they expect that the Switch 2 will be more expensive than its predecessor. Well, I think that might be a given. I don't see why Nintendo would want to sell it would sell anything at the same price as the last hardware. Although that would be cool. It would be cool if this thing came out and it was no more expensive than the current Switch. That would be amazing, actually. That would actually be amazing. Do you know how many people would be on board if it would cost the same? You know how many parents would have zero issues buying the Switch 2? Hell, there's probably parents that would be intending to buy the Switch 1 and mistakenly buy the Switch 2. I think that would be a win, but it'll never happen. So it's much more likely that the price is going to be somewhere between about 350 and 400. These idiots are saying way more. These guys are saying it's going to be a lot more. These guys are saying it's going to be like $500. Are you kidding me? Are you out of your minds? I think they're out of their minds, yo. I think they're out of their freaking minds. But yeah, potentially being 400 or more. In fact, Tokyo Securities analyst Hideki Yasuda said that I wouldn't be surprised if Nintendo goes ahead with $4.99. I hope to God not. Though that depends on factors such as the U.S. tariffs. Yeah, the U.S. tariffs are insane. Trump is, I've said it and I'll say it again. He's the worst president we've had twice. I just, we didn't have very good options. Anyhow, though that depends on factors such as the U.S. tariffs, a trade war with various countries, as well as the hardware costs. The analysts are divided in that regard, though. Um, it's not all concerning for Nintendo, though. The analyst also expects that the Switch 2 will release relatively soon, in June. As for games, blah, 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 Tokyo based industry watcher Serkan Toto expects, quote, a great software lineup in year one from new Mario Kart and 3D Mario after 8 years to Pokemon Legends, ZA, and Metroid Prime 4. There will also be third-party support from day one, most probably including blockbusters like Call of Duty. And that was a quote. The analysts also agree that despite the high price, the console will still get off to a great start. I don't agree with any of this, but I had the same sentiments about the original Switch. And my original sentiments were it was too much and it should have been less and it would have sold. And I think the majority of the Switch units that have sold over time were actually the Switch Lite. I don't think it was the regular Switch. I think it was Switch Lite, the handheld only, that sold the most because the price was just better. It was more affordable. Um, I don't think 500 is a good idea. I think if they can land somewhere between 349.99 and 490 and 499.99, or not 490. God damn it, 399.99. So 349.99 and 399.99, I think is going to be the sweet spot somewhere in there. One of the two. If they go any higher, they will price out a lot of people. People don't come to Nintendo expecting to pay the kind of pricing that usually comes with Microsoft's Xbox or Sony's PlayStation. They don't come to Nintendo expecting or considering or wanting that. It could be a repeat of like when the Nintendo versus the Super Nintendo came out. Right. Now, I don't know. It depends on that. See, there's a caveat to that. The Nintendo Switch 2 could have features that just warrant that price tag. Like, you gotta really sell it. Now, if there's some features in there people want, things that Nintendo does that people are like, hell yeah, then sure, I can see them selling it for more. Maybe $449.99, but not $499.99. So not $500, maybe $450. But we'll see. But I hope it's not that bad. But yeah, I'm expecting somewhere between 350 and 400. I'm not expecting 400 to 500. That's insane. That's stupid. That's dumb. Let's not see that happen. So now let's talk about some FCC filings and whatnot. The FCC filing suggests the Switch 2 might have GameCube Switch online controller. That sounds like a reasonable thing. I mean, here's the thing. I think it's all but assured that the Switch 2 will have GameCube and probably more for the Switch Online service. What's sad is they'll probably up the service. And if they up the service, they'll probably see people just scoff at them. I don't think Nintendo realizes how far they can and can't push things before people snap back and they're like, nah, I'm good. I'm good. So I believe that if this is an actual filing for a GameCube controller for online purposes, that can only, I mean, I might be wrong, but that just seems to me that it's for GameCube on the Switch Online service. Personally, I wouldn't do that. I would sell each GameCube game individually. I just would. I think that's a better idea. Just selling them, upgrading them to widescreen and whatnot. HDifying them and everything in widescreen. I think that's a better, like, don't release the games native as they were, but like make some adjustments either through the emulator or whatnot. I've seen emulators that can turn a GameCube game widescreen, and we've seen some re-release of GameCube and Wii games that came out, like oh god, I can't remember that game. See, I hate this. I cannot remember. I don't care for the game. That's why I can't remember. But it's the Pikmin. Pikmin. There we go. I think it was Pikmin 2, and it was from like the GameCube or the Wii. I can't remember. And it was basically people were like, "Oh, hey, it's an HD." And I'm sitting here going, "That's clearly emulated with some tweaks." So I would like to see them do that. Emulation with tweaks. Like, I think that's the way to go. I think that's what they're going to do. Just emulation with tweaks. I think that's the way to go. So I don't want to see it just like at the standard, like, aspect ratios and whatnot. I don't want to see that. That would be boring. And I fully expect to see Wii games. Hell, I expect to see DS games on this device. And I still expect to see dual screen return. I expect to see the return of dual screen, like with the DS and the Wii U. I expect that to fully return. There are patents that suggest this. There's an extra USB-C port on it. There's a patent that says they can flip the damn thing around and attach things to the bottom with it upside down, which I just, come on. Come on. Don't, yeah, something's going on here. So, at first glance, what Nintendo has filed to the FCC seems innocent. It's a game controller, but fans picked up on how similar it is to the GameCube controller. Not only that, but it has the prefix for the Switch 2 model number, not its predecessor. Because of this, fans are wondering if this FCC filing may actually be for a Nintendo Switch GameCube controller for the Switch 2. Nintendo did confirm that Switch Online will be available on the Switch 2, so it isn't out of the realm of possibility. And a new console would be a perfect opportunity for Nintendo to debut a new retro console library. Yeah, GameCube. Come on. Not much going on here, but it does sound like it's for a GameCube controller. They could surprise us all, and it could be their new Switch 2 Pro controller. I think it's going to be a Switch 2 Pro controller. Let's be real. Let's be real. Okay, moving on to the next bit of news. Updated Switch 2 patent showing AI resolution upscaling. The DLSS stuff. I don't know if this is from Nintendo or if this is something they did with NVIDIA. I'm thinking it's more like something they did with NVIDIA, since NVIDIA is working on the chips. This is NVIDIA. So I'm pretty sure it's a version of DLSS from NVIDIA, and Nintendo kind of came in with them and worked on it. Nintendo filing a patent for this, though, is kind of weird because it's basically the same thing that exists on other hardware and whatnot. You can't really patent that. Can you? No. Because then there'd be court battles and whatnot. That's so weird to patent this. But yeah, so I guess I'll read the article. It is now just 2.5 weeks before Nintendo. Yes, we know. Switch 2, a more detailed unveiling via the upcoming Switch 2 Direct. In the meantime, Switch 2 news has been primarily patents, FCC filings, and rumors. The patents and FCC filings have been particularly interesting, as this is perhaps the closest we'll get to official confirmation from Nintendo for the time being. This time, it's not necessarily a new patent. It's actually an update to a patent already posted. However, the updated patent now adds information regarding AI resolution upscaling. It is worth noting that this isn't the controversial generative AI that people hate that, and rightfully so. No, this has to do with just upscaling, a method for upscaling visuals to make them look even prettier. My question is, I hope this is something that gets turned off on games that are intentionally meant to look low resolution. Not every game is meant to look this way, so I hope it's just applied to certain games because there are indie developers that don't want their games to look like that. So, yeah. Um, the updated patent now adds information regarding AI resolution upscaling. It is worth noting that this isn't the controversial, but a method for resolution upscaling that isn't native. While this technology could be used for Switch 2 games, it is much more likely that this may be used to enhance Switch 1 games being played on the Switch 2. I don't think so. I don't think so at all. Nope. I think this is for any game across the board. Any game that the developers or IP owners wants to have it. I don't agree with this because this technology is how. Well, actually, no. You know what? I do kind of agree with this. I think this is a portion of the patent that is for older games because they're showing games that are only like 540p. That's interesting. While this patent is from Nintendo, there's still room to keep an open mind. Nintendo hasn't actually properly spoken about the matter yet, and outside of the patent itself, there's more speculation from this than any concrete information. Nevertheless, this has been rumored previously, so this only adds more evidence that this is something that Nintendo will likely bring up in their Switch 2 Direct April 2nd. That all said, you can see, so here's the image. Render the image, the 540p image, prepare image, input data, reorganize to matrix, 16x16 matrix of activations, run neural network, 16x16 matrix of activations, recognize into blocks, 1080p output data, recognize 1080p output data into converted image, 1080p image, output converted image. So it's upscaling things that are around 480 and 540 up to 1080. So that does sound like older games, doesn't it? That does. There's a source, but I don't really feel like going into that. So yeah, it could be anything. I think the AI upscaling stuff is used for everything. Anything that needs to be used on. Moving on. U.S. Circana's Matt believes Switch 2 will get the market back to growth. This is weird. Matt Piscatella, I'm gonna assume that's a pronunciation, who works for Circana, the video game software and hardware sales tracker in the United States, has said in a new video that he is of the firm belief, not believe, that the Switch 2 will bring the video game market back to growth when it launches later this year. Here's what Mr. Piscatella had to say about Grand Theft Auto 6 and the Nintendo Switch 2's effect on the U.S. marketplace. Quote, if those two things do happen this year, and they do meet the expectations going into this year, I think you're looking at low to mid single digit percentage growth in overall market spending on video game products. Now, that doesn't sound like a lot, but it would result in record spending on the consumer side. It would get the industry back to growth over that 2021 peak that we previously seen. And most importantly, I think, and a little bit of a thing not a lot of folks may be thinking about, is it gets investment flowing back into the game space. I don't think so. I don't agree with this shit at all. I get the feeling, and maybe I'm wrong, maybe it's the wrong hunch, but I think it's just going to do more for Japanese game developers. It's going to do much more for everywhere else than it will the U.S. We are never going to see what we saw in 2021 again. Do you know why? We had the pandemic going on. The pandemic, we're never going to get back to that. They are so hopeful that we're going to get back to that. It's never going to happen. Never going to happen. We're not getting back to that. They're full of themselves. It's just not happening. I'm not even an analyst. I don't do anything professionally. But I can tell you right now, No, we're not getting back to that. That had everything to do with the pandemic. We're not getting back to that growth. Sorry. It's just the breaks. Could I be wrong? Yes. Yes, I could. I could be very wrong. But I don't think so. So, let's keep going. FCC filings show Nintendo Switch 2 features NFC and Wi-Fi 6. Recent filings from the Federal Communication Commission, FCC, has revealed that the upcoming Nintendo Switch 2 console will feature both Wi-Fi 6 and NFC for Amiibo support. Well, duh. I don't think Nintendo's giving up NFC technology and Amiibo shit yet. Like, it's made them some money. I don't think so. Sadly, the console doesn't appear to feature the newer Wi-Fi 7 or Wi-Fi 6E, nor the faster, shorter range 6 gigahertz band. The NFC function will be located in the right Joy-Con like the current Nintendo Switch. Wasn't much to talk about there, was there? We are almost done. We're at the home stretch of all this information. No, we're done. That's it. That's all there's been, really. I don't think there's been much else to talk about. Switch 2 might have GameCube Switch controller. Patent showing errors. Yeah, so that's about it. And I think that the main reason I wanted to make this video was just to kind of talk about my expectations real quick here at the end. I know this has been quite a long video. My expectations for the Switch 2 are not high like other people's. It does all depend on how much they charge for the device. I don't think they're going to go that high. They'd be dumb to. Nintendo doesn't like to sell things at a loss, but I think at some point they're going to have to. They need to pull their heads out of their butts. Nintendo, you have to. You want to sell the software, right? The software is more important. You have to do what other hardware companies do. You have to do more like what they do, and I know you don't want to. Oh, there was also the thing. Oh, I didn't even talk about that. It's not shown here, and I couldn't find the article, but there is one other article. Like, they're saying that the oh my God, I need to find that article. Where the hell is that article? It might not have been on this website. It might have been a different website. Okay, so there's going to be supposedly actual proper voice chat in the Switch 2. Proper voice chat. And I think so. Like, Nintendo needs proper voice chat. All you gotta do is put in a oh God, what is that thing called? One of those things that tell people a warning, this could happen, blah, blah, blah. Just put that in there and make sure people realize that they could hear things they don't want to hear. Their kids could hear things they don't want to hear. Nintendo, you can't babysit people's kids. And let me explain this real quickly. There are places that I play games. I play games on Steam. There are kids that will pop up randomly and have the foulest of mouths. Come on. Nintendo, you can't babysit people's kids. It's just make sure you put a warning or whatever it's called. I can't remember. Somebody will come in the comment section and tell me what word I'm looking for. Put in that warning that says that there could be stuff that's out of Nintendo's hands. It's not up to Nintendo. It's out of their hands. It's up to the parents. And I've felt like this for a long time. It shouldn't be up to Nintendo. It shouldn't be up to Sony. It shouldn't be up to Microsoft. It should be up to the parents. Monitor your kids the best you can and stop trying to get everyone else to take care of your kids. They're your kids. You popped them out. You created them. They're your responsibility, not the rest of the world. And if you give too much control of your kids and their safety and whatnot to the rest of the world, to the government, so on and so forth, it'll get out of hand. It's a bad idea. It's not something you should do. I hold to this. I believe it wholeheartedly. It shouldn't be up to Nintendo to protect your kids from stuff online. It should be up to you to watch your kids, to pay attention to things. All kinds of people play video games, not just children. That's something people need to come to the realization of. And there's still people that don't understand this, that all kinds of people play video games. It is no different than movies, television, or books. It doesn't matter. It's a form of media, it's a hobby, it's people of all ages enjoy, and it should be understood as such. It's never going to change. It's never going to be the way you think it is, and you need to be responsible. It's no one else's decision. It's up to you. Now, back to my thoughts about the Switch 2. I really suspect that if Nintendo is smart, it won't go over $400. If Nintendo is smart, it won't go over $400. But I could see possibly 450. I don't think so, but it it could be. But I think if they're smart, it'll be $400. Maybe less because of the tariffs. I don't know. Nintendo needs to have a loss on hardware. They need to learn to take a loss. Nintendo is stubbornly against not making profit on hardware. I don't understand it. Maybe I never will. Either a loss or cut even. Like, get the hardware out there, even if you don't really make a profit off of it, as long as you don't lose money on it, then I think that's it. Cut it even. Okay, don't even take a loss. Just cut it even. So you make money on the software. Here's the thing about the Switch too. I don't think it's something they need to just get rid of if it doesn't immediately take off. I think it's something they'll have to figure out how to get people to buy or make it a price that people want, because there's no way that a Switch 2 shouldn't be a success. But Nintendo has a track record for coming up with one device that sells gangbusters, coming up with another one that just puts them in a hole, and then the next time making another device that puts them on top. You know, I don't know, I don't remember the Super NES being as big a success as the NES, but you have to realize that Nintendo at the time, back in the 80s, they were the only game in town in the US. In the US. And they practically had no competition. They muscled the competition out. So the NES was a huge, huge success. The Super Nintendo, I think, was still did good, just not as good as the NES. But that's because Nintendo didn't have a stranglehold on the market. Let's look at this. Let's see. GameCube did okay-ish. Did better than the N64. The Wii did even better than the GameCube, but then the Wii U kind of meh. And so then we came out with the Switch, which did gangbusters, and now the Switch 2. So it's this weird ups and downs where I don't know. The pricing is going to make or break the Switch 2. Yeah. I fully expect to see backwards compatibility. I expect to see older games upscaled to be amazing. I fully expect to see dual screen technology. I expect to see some cool stuff. I think Nintendo's set to do a lot. Like, I feel like Nintendo's at this point where they're going to throw in so many features that you can't say no. This has been The Goof. I have not made a video in a while, and I didn't mean to make one this long, but I hope you stick around, and I hope you watch it. And if you would, rate, comment, subscribe. I'm really trying to get to 1,000 subscribers, and I would really appreciate it. Have a good one.